So we're continuing on looking at attachment, and we'll be over the next days, as Venerable Children isn't here, looking at different afflictions. So yesterday we looked at the definition of it, this mind that exaggerates the good qualities of something and then starts going after it. And we also looked at some disadvantages. The way it really steals our happiness. If we look at it closely, we start seeing, seems like happiness, it's really not happiness. So we just peel away that first layer, and you can even feel the itchiness in your mind, the lack of peace, just on that level, but far more. If we go after people, relationships, objects that we're attached to, we end up in really difficult suffering situations, almost always, I would say always. So today we're gonna start looking at particular kinds of attachment. And today I get the pleasure of talking about attachment to material things. So I thought I'd start off with a story about my dad again. My dad, Frank, was, as I've said before, a Montana cowboy, and he would just say kind of astonishing things to me as a kid. He was older when I was born. I think he was 43, and so I got to be around this kind of cowboy philosopher type, which was a real treat in many ways. And one day we were watching someone, and I was trying to recall the exact memory, but I can't remember. It was a man who was kind of freaking out about something he'd bought, a horse or a trailer or something, and really having a very bad time. And my dad just quietly turned to me and he said, always watch out that your things don't own you. And I was like 8 years old, and I thought, God, what is he talking about now? And I got to kind of meditate on that. What does my dad mean? Watch out that your things don't own you. And I watched that guy have a very bad time over this, and it started coming clear pretty fast. Like, wow, that guy's all bent out of shape about this object. And in this moment, he's kind of owned by that. And then as I went through, my years watching, every time I started craving a physical object, it was owning me. It was owning my time. It was owning my energy. And I'd be like, is that how I want to spend my time? And it'd be like, nope, don't think so. So he was into an early simple living movement, the Montana cowboy early simple living movement, which was just how it was. He grew up fairly poor and therefore very resourceful and used very few items. Another time I remember we went into a grocery store, which he almost never went into them. He avoided them. And he looked at, we were looking for soap, and he looked at all the shelves of soap, just shelves and shelves of laundry soap and hand soap and dish soap and this soap. And he said, we should all just have one bar of soap. And then he turned around and walked away. And I stood there looking and went, yeah, you can wash your dishes with your bar of soap, your hair with your bar of soap, your body with your bar of soap. What are we doing with all this stuff? So anyway, he was already on his way about this attachment to material things. Now, he had other attachments, but that wasn't his. So that was very helpful. And then I've had the pleasure of a couple of times being around Venerable Children, and I remember one very specifically. I went along with her to a retreat in Mexico, and we happened to be invited to a city and to a house, and it was plush. I mean, it was upper class, very wonderful practitioners, but upper class, very, very gorgeous, beautiful things. And she, on day one, just started taking out her flaming sword and cutting about material possessions. So the first thing she did, the whole ashram, the little meditation room, had these little fancy cushions with a back on them on the floor, but a back that you could lean against. And so she just started out saying, everyone take your cushion and put it over there. We're not doing that. We don't recline when we listen to the Buddha. And then every day she had people, and again, they were mostly by what they were wearing in the cars they were driving, fairly upper class. Every day she said, to be in these teachings, every single day you have to go out and give something away to someone you don't know. Every day, and come back and report. And the most beautiful stories came. People were amazed. They would just take a shirt from their house and go out and give it on the street. And it was fantastic. And what was she doing? She was building generosity, but she was cutting attachment, cutting attachment, cutting attachment. And so then, after I moved here, another thing she did, and these are all the methods. How do you deal with attachment to material things? Give it away. And the more you feel like you can't, give it away. And if it's a relationship that it wouldn't make sense to give it away, then when you do your mental offerings in the morning, give the person away. Give the relationship away. Give it away constantly. Give it to the Buddha. Give the person to your best friend. Give the person to someone you'd feel jealous about and work on it. So shortly after I moved here, she said to all of us, just one day suddenly, you have to give away something that you're feeling attached to. And I was like, oh my God, I brought so few things, I brought 2 suitcases full of stuff. That's it. What am I going to give away? But it came up in my mind right away. I had this little blue satsa that the community had given me when I was quite sick one time, and I had taken it through that sickness and done lots of mantra on it, and I was so attached to this little blue medicine Buddha satsa. And it came in my mind, and I thought, no, I'm going to give away something else. I am not giving that away. But I couldn't get it out of my mind. So it was like, this is what you have to give away, because why is it continually coming up for you? I was looking all around my room for something else. I'll give away this shirt. I'll give away these socks. Oh, they're all nuns. They don't want that. Wrong color. Although I don't think there were so many robes around then. But anyway, you get the point. So I took the blue satsa and gave it away. And then after about 2 days, Venerable came in and she said to everyone, do you remember the thing you gave away? And I went, oh yeah, of course. And she said, have you been worried about it for days? I mean, were you thinking about it all the time? And what I realized was I had completely forgotten it. So there you go. The attachment was so strong. And I gave it away and let go. And the next 2-3 days, it didn't even cross my mind. Where is it? What is it? And that was what she was showing is come, come, go, go. So those were wonderful opportunities, and that's one really good way to work on attachment, besides cutting through the mind that makes it solid, grasps onto it, makes the positive characteristics solid. You can simply give it away, and you'll get to work on attachment. You'll get to see right there the object of negation. It's going to pop up, and you get to see it, and you get to see it go away. So then this morning, I wanted to look at what Geshe Sopa had to say about it in his Steps on the Path to Enlightenment, his commentary on the Lam Rim. And he says so many beautiful things, it's hard to get them down to a few, but I will. Here's his quote. Serious practitioners examine the obstacles to giving freely without stinginess. So what's one of the obstacles? All of us have things to which we're very attached. Just by being there in front of us, these things increase our stinginess. That's so powerful. It's just by it being there in front of us, it increases our stinginess. And then he says these most amazing sentences. These things seem to benefit us, but really they are obstacles. They are deceitful, confusing, and like anti-generosity drugs. Don't you just love him? He's so great. Anti-generosity drugs. They poison our practice and obstruct our progress on the path to awakening. Not only do they block and increase our generosity, they reduce the thought to give that we already have. So we'll have a thought to give, and then they'll attachment will go, oh, no, no, just what I did with the satsa. No, oh, no, don't give that. These things themselves are neither good nor bad. Whether or not they are a problem depends on the person in question. If we're attached to things, we should think as follows. Quote, the Buddha started out in samsara just like me. He had the same kind of troubled life, but he attained awakening. Now, he's way up there, so why am I still down here? We should recollect that we're trying to emulate the Buddha by taking the Bodhisattva vow to attain awakening for the benefit of others. Now, I've promised that my body, life, and wealth are for the assistance of other beings. I'm trying to give mentally, but I'm still attached to these things that I have in my possession. And then I wanted to read this last one. Yeah, here it is. To avoid this attachment, we should think about the many benefits that come from giving things away and the disadvantages of being attached to our possessions. Just weigh these out side by side. Compare the drawbacks of stinginess, that is, having quarrels, enemies, unhappiness, and so on, to the benefits that come with sharing with others. And you'll become excited about giving to others, and you'll become very afraid of continuing to grasp things. So there we go, words from the wise. So may we all be free of grasping at these material things. May we simply use them and enjoy them as we need them, and may we be very generous in giving them away.